precious metal to back all these paper claims. This could get explosive, and you could see $100 silver in a few days. And I don't think it will stop there. And within the next decade, we'll see silver prices way over $100 per ounce. And that the US is afraid of the BRICS alliance, and he should be afraid of the BRICS alliance. But when you start to punish them and threaten them with 100% tariffs, that's a sign of weakness. That's not a sign of strength. Actually, that shows you're losing, and you have to become a bully. It's bully politics, and the more bully politics you are using.
Silver prices could experience a rapid surge, reaching $100 per ounce in the short term and continuing to rise over the next decade. Meanwhile, the United States' decision to impose 100% tariffs on BRICS nations signals its growing concern over the alliance's influence. However, such aggressive economic measures may reflect weakness rather than strength, pushing BRICS countries further from relying on the US dollar. By resorting to punitive tactics, the US risks accelerating the shift toward alternative financial systems, strengthening BRICS' resolve to establish greater independence from Western economic dominance. A Dutch investor, Willem Middelkoop, explains that gold prices are influenced by more than just gold funds and enthusiasts. The key drivers are central banks, sovereign investors, and institutional buyers. Central banks have been increasing their gold reserves over the past 3 years, signaling concern even as they have the power to print money. Institutional investors typically turn to gold during times of war and chaos, and with rising global uncertainty and instability, demand is growing. Some believe the U.S. has strategically managed gold prices to prevent a surge, but a significant breakout in gold prices could be imminent with mounting geopolitical and economic turmoil. Before diving into the video, subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest uploads. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to share your feedback in the comments.
You always have the gold funds and the gold bucks who are always buying gold. But what's more important for the general gold market is, what do the general investors do? What do the sovereign investors do? What do the central banks do? And when central banks are starting to flee towards gold, which has been happening in the last 3 years, that's very telling, because these are the guys who are allowed to print money. So if they start to buy gold, that's a sign. And institutional investors only buy gold when there's a smell of war in the air, when there's a smell of chaos. And there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of madness. Look what's happening coming from the White House on a daily basis. So expect more chaos, expect more flight to gold. And when I just was present at the keynote of Eric Sprott, a well-known investor in our space, Canadian billionaire, he said when they start to open up Fort Knox, a lot of eyes will be opened. So I think he's right. I think the U.S. has played a great number of tricks to keep the gold price, managed to avoid a gold price explosion. But we might get that gold price explosion now, because there's an awful lot going on. And this is a president who has campaigned for a few things: draining the swamp, getting rid of the corruption, but also he's in favor of great transparency, and so is Elon Musk. And when you say transparency, it reminds me actually about Gorbachev, the former Russian president who started his glasnost, which was also about openness and transparency. It took Gorbachev to open up that closed Soviet system. It took him a few years, but 6 years later it collapsed because that system couldn't stand transparency. And I'm a bit afraid that the US system might get very unstable because of too much transparency. So when you open up the vaults and you find maybe it's not there, or it's not all there, or the quality is different, people might start to lose trust in the financial system, in the dollar. So be careful what kind of worms you're opening up.
Willem recalls that the BRICS alliance has grown in influence since 2016. Despite initial skepticism from Western leaders, the US's recent imposition of 100% tariffs on BRICS nations signals that it now takes the bloc seriously, though such aggressive measures may reflect weakness rather than strength. By resorting to economic pressure and punitive tactics, the US risks pushing BRICS countries further away from the dollar and strengthening their resolve to establish alternative financial systems. With China leading the way, BRICS is not fading but gaining momentum as a counterbalance to Western economic dominance. Willem points out that commodities are poised for strong performance due to geopolitical instability and monetary factors like currency devaluation and persistent inflation. Beyond these concerns, supply and demand fundamentals indicate a growing era of shortages, making commodities a crucial investment. Experts highlight the urgent need for new resource discoveries, such as copper, to meet long-term demand. Despite being undervalued, commodities are entering a long-term bull market, which could last for decades, providing significant opportunities for investors who position themselves wisely. Now, let's get back to the interview.
I've been speaking and writing about the BRICS and the power of the BRICS and the development of this alliance since at least 2016, when I revised the Big Reset, which can be downloaded for free at our website for people who are interested. And first, people criticized me. And even Mark Rutte, he used to be Prime Minister in the Netherlands, and he said the BRICS is just they just talk. We don't have to take that serious. Well, when you start to have tariffs of 100% against the BRICS countries, you take them very serious. So this shows to me that the US is afraid of the BRICS alliance, and he should be afraid of the BRICS alliance. But when you start to punish them and threaten them with 100% tariffs, that's a sign of weakness. That's not a sign of strength. Actually, that shows you're losing and you have to become a bully. It's bully politics, and the more bully tics you are using, the more countries like the one who are in the BRICS alliance understand they have to move away from the dollar. They need to hedge. They know the US is weak, and the US is showing it with its actions. So the BRICS alliance is very powerful, in my opinion. It's only starting. China is leading this, but it won't go away. It will get stronger. We came from this globalized world at the end of the late 80s, where communism collapsed and we all started to live together happily on this planet. But now we have seen an end of this trend towards more globalization, and now we have this bifurcation of the world economy, and we treat China as our enemy. I don't think China is an enemy. Maybe China is an enemy to the US dollar system, which makes China an enemy from the American point of view. But I will say in Europe, China is not our enemy. China has been around for 10,000 years. China never conquered Europe. We in Europe shouldn't be like a vassal state of the US. We should have our own policy. And what's happening now with Trump threatening to leave NATO, actually for us in Europe, that's a good thing, because finally we have to start thinking about our own policy and not just follow the US. So there's a lot going on. There are many moving parts. Actually, you could say the Big Reset has started. It also reminds me of Neil Howe's book, The Fourth Turning. Every 80 years you get a new system. It's right 80 years after 1945, which was the end of the Second World War, which was the start of the dollar system and the dollar hegemony. So we're in for a large change, and we're getting it now. And let's hope we survive without too much chaos. When I give presentations, I always give them 4 reasons why commodities will do very well. And one is the geopolitical side, the other is the monetary side, the debasement of currency. You have ongoing inflation, I think, which will come back. But then, if you forget all these monetary, geopolitical reasons, just look at supply and demand. We entered the era of shortages. And that's the main reason you should position yourself as an investor in towards commodities. And gold is only part of that picture. But if you study uranium, if you study copper, Robert Friedland gave a keynote speech in Miami, and he said we need to find 6 Escondidas, which is the largest open pit copper mine in the world. We need to find 6 of those, or even open 6 of those every year.
As global markets undergo significant shifts, investors must navigate economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and changing financial dynamics. The rise of BRICS, the weakening dollar hegemony, and growing commodity shortages all point to a period of transformation. Those who adapt strategically may find valuable opportunities in this evolving landscape. How might BRICS' strengthening position impact the global financial system in the next decade? What role will central banks play in shaping gold and commodity markets amid economic uncertainty? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for being part of our community.